Ready to rumble?
Yep.
All right. I'm going to do a tiny little intro, really mini one.
Do it.
All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to What's Your Story? So we have repeating guest number 2. Chad is in the building. Just want to get Chad back on, talk to him a bit. We've always had good conversations, and I thought it would be fun to jump back on and talk about a few different topics and bodybuilding. And we're actually going to talk into some more in-depth stuff. But Chad, welcome back to the show, man.
Glad to be back. What is going on?
Not much, man. Not much. I know we were just talking about like bodybuilding a bit and we were talking about Jeff, but I wanted to jump back into that quick. So it's crazy too, because like obviously we've talked a ton about bodybuilding over the last 4 years, but what's crazy is we were just talking about competing in the aspect of just like how much it takes to compete at an elite level now when it comes to like conditioning and all that shit. It's crazy to me because like we were just talking about Jeff dropping all that weight, but it's like it just blows my mind because I'm like I dieted down, but even what you're talking about with his numbers, it's like mine were just like a long, slow thing. And it seems like it's been just a lot. I don't know. It's just crazy to me, but it's different.
Oh, it is crazy. And it's more or less the reason I personally don't want to do it anymore. Competing, I mean. Bodybuilding is part of my soul and it will always be there. But competing is different.
Well, I'm in the same boat. I'm just at the point now where like I've lost everything, you know? So it's like, I don't want to like the work that goes back into it. And like, I love bodybuilding and I love everything about it. I love the mental game, like the physique side of it. But it's just, for me, it's just been injuries. This flare up and like, I can't train at the same level. It's just so much extra work. And it's like, I'm literally turning 30 tomorrow, which is,
oh, wow. Happy birthday.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I know it's young, but like all these old injuries are just, I didn't take care of right away or flaring up. And it's just like, it's crazy. And I just like, I'd love to do it. Like, how old are you now?
25.
25. How old's Jeff?
23.
23. Yeah. So he's in prime time. I mean, it's funny to think about that because
Weird.
I literally met you when I was 24, which is weird, right? Because it's funny.
Weird.
I look back now and I look at like
long friendship.
Yeah, dude. Well, it's funny because I look back now and, you know, I'd have a few people like, Jeff, you're jacked and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking 5 years older than you. You know, it's like weird because you don't think about it like that. Because now I look at all these people that were my age when I was, you know, 24, 25, 26. And I'm like, they're all way bigger and stronger than me. But in the moment that was my moment, you know?
I remember.
Oh, it's funny.
But it's a crazy sport and you got to be a crazy motherfucker to do it. So,
yeah, I mean, you just have to be. What was
so like? It's no doubt a sacrifice of years of your life. Whether it's 1 or 2 or 3 or 20, we don't really know, and it depends on the person. And obviously, we've seen in recent times a few famous guys just go at an absurd age.
Well, what was his name? It just passed away.
Luke Sandow.
Yeah,
that was it's still not, we're still not sure what happened. So originally his friends said it was a suicide, but then his family on his birthday said it was not, and it was heart related. So you don't really know who to believe because.
Well, did you see, so you know Nick Strength and Power?
Of course,
right? So I saw him, I think it was like a year before. Did you see this thing? He met him at the Arnold, and this is when Nick actually did like the talking at the Arnold or the Olympia, I think it was Arnold or Olympia. I forget what it was, but he met Arnold. So it was the Arnold Classic, and he saw Sandow in the back, and Sandow was looking insane. There's the guest posing. We got some guest posing going on, but it's like they saw Sandow. He put a ton of size on, got shredded, and it's just like you wonder if he was just a mix of pushing his body to the max, where it just was gonna get, you know, it was a matter of time, or was it a mix of he just mentally was just destroyed?
You know, I don't even think it has to do with bodybuilding. I mean, if it was a suicide.
No, if it was suicide, it's just, well, we want to talk about this in general, you know, and it's crazy because like you look at him and you're like, me and you is like, that would be incredible. He's an absolute monster. But at the same time, it's like, it just shows, you know, any sport, any elite level, you look at comedians, even, you know, like Miss Doubtfire, what was his name? Played Miss Doubtfire.
Robin Williams?
Robin Williams, yeah. So
I love Robin Williams. Okay, I haven't seen that one.
Miss Doubtfire is probably his top 3 film of all time.
Oh, really? No, I loved him. He was great.
Yeah, but like for him, comedian, and you look at all these people, like the happiest go lucky people,
Yeah,
like
the
super
the
successful.
lead singer of Linkin Park,
Yeah, like that was wild
Soundgarden,
too. And there's the craziest part is there was
and they
footage
have
like the day
families. Yeah,
there was footage like the day before he was literally like hanging out with his kids, like everything's cool, knowing like the next day like he's pretty much gonna end it. But it's crazy too because like time like now more than ever is like the time I feel like people are just hitting that deep point. You look at everything because of the
yeah,
virus. It's like everyone's stuck home. Divorce rates are up. Suicide rates are up. It's just like a shitty time for like everybody, you know?
yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. I've had my own mental mind. It's pushed me to a limit. I don't know how it's been for you, but it's pushed me
Oh, yeah.
to like the limit just because I don't know. It's like you just feel like you're just spiraling, and social media has messed with me because like I don't even go on it because there's so many politics now. Like I've been off the grid. I don't know.
Yeah.
How have you dealt with it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been hard at times. It's such a weird situation. Um, and, it's really a shame that, a rate like the suicide rate goes up, because of this. And, if looking at Sandow too, I mean, I, as a bodybuilder and whatever we want to call it, I release, my stress in the gym, as I'm sure you do. And I couldn't fucking go for a while. And, I never in my life expected my main source of stress relief to just be, can't do it. Sorry. Like, when would that ever happen in a normal, circumstance? It just wouldn't. So you don't expect that. And that was tough. And it made me realize how much I rely on that to just be normal up here.
Right.
Which is a lot. And I mean, I've been doing it since I was, very young, like 13, around that age. So that's the longest I have not gone to the gym ever. So it was tough. And, I really feel for the people that couldn't make it through that. It's really a shame, but I understand it. And I understand that if I was Luke, who I can suspect had a similar feeling about the gym as you and I,
Yeah.
obviously, that could have just been the little bit more that he needed to, believe he would feel better somewhere else. Well, and it's a shame because the suicide, like depression, isn't something happens and you're like, that's it. It's a buildup. It's a long buildup of a lot of things that keep bothering you, and they don't go away. And you have little ticks on one side and one to the other. Like he has children. Well, that's a tick up. But this thing happened to me when I'm a kid. And it all like either adds up, and if it hits your personal decision of what's too much for you, that's kind of it for someone who thinks like that. So it's a shame.
It's tough because you like. Even to the gym point, it's like you start to like for you, for example, like I've transitioned a little bit more less bodybuilding stuff, but I like a gym was still like a huge part of my life, obviously.
Yeah.
But like if you're competing in bodybuilding, like it is your life, like that is everything, and then your identity is that, like your career is that, like it's not just I can't work out. It's literally every piece of your life is being taken away.
It is, yeah. When I did my show, it was everything I did from the time I woke up to the time I maybe went to sleep, was about the show and bodybuilding, what I could do, like everything, all the time. Which in a way is nice because you feel very focused and accomplished, but in a way is also unhealthy because I was, doing cardio during my job. Shit like that.
Yeah. I mean, there's an extreme end of everything. That's the tough part is, especially like you think about like a society thing now is push to the more we work, the more we do, the less we sleep. Like that's like society's norm of like success.
Well, I have an interesting question for you actually, because I think you've maybe been through this. How do you think competing for a show and being in a relationship with someone who is not competing for a show, how do you think that affects things.
I mean, it completely taxed it. I mean, the thing is, you need to, even if you have someone that's understanding and have someone that's into fitness and working out, like it's gonna tax it. I mean, even for me, it was just one of those things where they understood, but but you're gonna basically there when you start dating someone, there's that mutual, like, you show each other a certain amount of attention, you do all these things for each other, you're doing the little, like your relationship, you're not dating that same person anymore for that period of time, at least after a certain amount of weeks of dieting, because like your whole life, your attention goes from maybe giving them a certain amount of attention to taking it away. And then it's just a matter of like how that balance is going to be. Is it going to push so far one way to the point where the person's understanding enough, but maybe just like, don't do this again? Or like, if you're going to keep competing, or, like they saw the worst side of you. Cause I see people that survive it, but I mean, it taxes it, man. I mean, it to me, it's like you have to be in such a good headspace and have to make such an effort if you're the one going through it to make an extra priority, even if it like means whatever you got to do. Because if you don't, I mean, I don't think it's sustainable, because most people don't know what they're getting into in the first place.
Very true. Well, do you think that maybe it requires a competitor to be with another competitor? Like, you think that's a requirement, or can someone make it work?
I think they'll maybe understand.
What do you think? And then I'll tell you what I think.
I think they'll understand the process more. So maybe they're more understanding to that side of it. But at the same time, I would never tell someone to compete at the same time. I think that's
not at the same time. I just mean like someone who competes. Dating
well,
someone
I think that's almost like anything. Yeah, I think 100% that would probably be better off, because they truly can relate to what you're going through.
I know it would be better off, but do you think that that's the only way? You think you can make it work otherwise?
No, but I really think you got to have a foundational, solid relationship. There has to be like, how many people do you know that are dating that, start dating and maybe they're not a great fit for each other, and then all of a sudden they get engaged and they get married because they just kind of worked, and then they just didn't want to break up, and they fight a lot, but that's just felt like what they should have done because they've dated for 4 years and you're supposed to do that, compared to if it was a foundational, hard, good relationship. I think it has to be like true values there and true like understanding. But what was your thought?
So I do think you can make it work. I think it's obviously way easier with someone who competes themselves, because they understand, they've been there. And, oftentimes things in life, you can't really understand them unless you've been there, which I think, is a good thing to remind yourself when you're dealing with, social situations and relationships. But what I think about that is I think it just takes someone who's extremely understanding. But it's tough because bodybuilding is we call it a sport, but it's more of a lifestyle.
It's a selfish sport too.
So, I have not gotten serious about any other sports, so don't quote me. You probably know better. But there's no other sports that like carry around with you all day, all the time, like bodybuilding. No, because bodybuilding isn't just I go to the gym for a long time. It's I sleep, I nap, I eat a lot, and I eat very annoying food, very inconvenient food that needs to be cooked and meal prepped, and
well, here's the other part.
Women like ice cream and popcorn and cookies, and you sit there and you're like, no, I can't have that. No, I mean, then they feel bad about themselves. So, yeah, I think it takes some. I think it takes someone who's at least into it. Maybe they don't compete, but they eat good and they go to the gym. I think that's definitely possible.
Yeah, I think from you look at athletics in general, you say like a football player, right? They're doing tape, they're doing an hour or two of tape a day. They're watching all these tape. They're going over the team they're playing. Then they have, an hour or two practice. Then they potentially have a workout. So you look at like 4 to 5 hours a day of like work. Yeah. And then you have nutritionists or dietitians, whoever, giving them their food, but it's not the same thing. It's not the, constant, like, it's almost like it's going from like a superficial level to like a deep level. Like I think, it's just bodybuilding, you have to get so much deeper, and there's so much meticulous detail into everything compared to where, what's the difference of a pro athlete eating 500 calories or more or less?
Yeah.
You know, is it really going to affect them to that level? Like, not really.
Well, I'm sure it's one thing with a pro athlete, but when you're a pro athlete, at least you're rich. Like, definitely.
Right.
So
Very
I
few
think your
bodybuilders
wife
that are
would
rich.
be okay with it. If I suddenly made, 800 grand as a starting something on some professional team,
Which is
I
like
think
almost
my wife
minimum
would be
now.
fine if I was not around as much.
That's
But
almost minimum at
bodybuilding is
most
one of those
things.
sports that you can do it your whole life. Whereas, like, chances are people who played football in high school, they're probably not going to do it anymore.
Right.
I mean, how many percent of high school athletes turn pro? I don't know. It's probably
Super
low,
small.
I suspect. So bodybuilding's not like that. We get into it in high school, like, you and I did, and pretty much everybody I know who does it got into it in high school. But you can keep doing it, and it becomes, an obsession. But just imagine, let's say football again, like someone playing football and then in their adult life going into like a football league and spending all this time doing it. Imagine how that would affect a relationship.
Yeah. Well, it's a different thing too.
It would
And like you
it
said,
would be a big deal.
it's the only comparison you can really make to the average bodybuilder. It's like most people playing in a men's football league for fun and letting it take over their life to the point it's testing the relationship and they're not getting paid or any money. That's pretty much the best way you can compare it, because most people almost everybody that competes doesn't make any money.
Yeah,
It's
not
rare.
at all.
Not at all. It's literally you're
I
just
mean,
doing it and you
you
have to.
spend money. You
Oh, you
spend money.
spend money to get
Especially if you're in the
judged by
NPC,
people
you
that
spend
really don't mean
definitely.
shit. Right.
Yeah.
But it's really just seeing like how far you can push yourself. Like it's so hard to stay in that mindset because you want to win, and if you don't win, you're upset. But
Yep.
it's really like there has to be that deep down, I'm competing because I want to see what I'm capable of doing.
Yes.
And even though you'll be upset, if you're upset you lose, that's one thing. But like you have to just do it for you.
Yeah, and that's definitely, I think, missed in sports. I mean, in bodybuilding, with sports, missed. I mean, I've only competed in that recent show I did, but I've been backstage a bit, and you don't even have to be backstage to experience this, but people are really like poor losers, like really bad sometimes. And even their family or someone who knows them who's sitting in front of you or they're sitting behind you, you can hear them talking, and they're just, talking some sort of shit about the other person who beat them or beat their loved one or their family member,
Yeah.
And it's just so like, I hate hearing that.
Dude,
I
I
hate
experienced
hearing
that.
that. Whenever I hear that, I'm just like, do we forget why we got into this? We got into this because we're all bettering ourselves. This is like,
Very few
this
people
isn't
look at it like
golf.
that.
You don't like have to be mad at the other person.
If anything, be mad at like
you're not actually competing. You're not really actually competing against anyone except how you looked on your last show.
right.
And or your first show. And I encourage people like who are considering doing a show, but they wouldn't ever be serious, to just do one, because it does, like you said, it shows you a side of you that you haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Just how you can push yourself so much by basically ignoring a vitally important human need, being eating.
Well, I have a good question.
Eating when you're hungry. Yeah.
So here's the question I have. How many people have you seen want to compete in bodybuilding? Either one, have a prior eating disorder and like they want to get into it for that, or two, an eating disorder caused by the extreme dieting and then coming out of a show and having to regain the weight?
I mean, I haven't seen too much of that, maybe just because I don't coach a high volume of people.
Right.
But I think for sure eating, like what more so with women, I think eating disorders are common, because some women need to eat just such low calories. Like I think I've had a girl on like 1,400 or less, like sometimes, because they just don't lose weight. It's when a woman's body is so much different, when you're dealing with estrogen versus testosterone, it's just so much harder sometimes.
Yeah.
Cortisol, all that stuff. depending whether they're on birth control or they're not on birth control, all that matters. And it all makes it so hard to be lean.
Yeah.
So I think in that case, eating disorder would, be common. It would be something that you would suspect from those women competitors. But I don't think
I see a lot, like in general, like not even maybe like as many as I coach, not nearly as like I coach, but directly just from like friends.
Really?
And it's that thing of like, I've seen it more, the extreme coming down where they just feel miserable. And then, and it's mostly, I believe a lot of times the coach's fault, and they crash diet them so hard to get into a show where they're restrictive eating, endless amounts of cardio, and then almost not attaining the physique they want. And then coming out of it, and rebounding horribly or binge eating, I feel like it gets these extreme ends of it, which you see a lot of people like that in general are just, I mean, you look at mainstream, like how you lose weight, endless amount of exercise and cut your calories to nothing.
Well, it's
a mess.
The world kind of makes weight loss seem weird. Like, I mean, they make it seem like a thing you just do and then you go back to normal. Like, oh, I lost 20 pounds and then I'm going to do this diet and lose 20 pounds and then go back to normal.
Yeah.
I think that's like this conception of what weight loss is. You just got to go on a diet, but just for like a couple months and then you're good.
Well, I read
you got to stay on the diet.
Sure.
Your body is what you're doing to it at that time. So with that said, go ahead.
No, sorry. No, it was top of my head. I forget the article that I read, but it was basically, it was thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people. And it was a study done, and they showed if the average person that lost over 10 pounds of body fat in 1 year, 80% of the people that lost that weight gained it back plus 10, the 10 pounds plus more in that year span. And the whole point of the article is just proving like America knows how to lose weight. They don't know how to do it correctly, and they don't know how to sustain it long periods of time. Yeah. So it's like they lose the weight, crash dieting 9 times out of 10, or it's like restricting everything and there's zero balance to it. So it's like, how do we get people to sustain it, right? And like build positive habits instead of just like a girl I'm working with now, like I'm not being paid, I'm just helping her. She was eating 1,250 calories a day, and she was this big girl, and she was doing this like 30-day shred. And I'm like, I had a hard time bringing her up to like 1,550. Well, because she mentally was like a mess. So, and then it's like, I'm like, man, it's like she should be easily over 2,000, training 4 to 5 days a week and all this stuff. But it's like having a hard time bringing her up
I've seen that with some of my clients too. It's very frustrating for them.
Because they can't lose weight because they're not eating enough, because their body's like such under stress, cortisol elevated. And then once you get more food in them, all of a sudden their body like starts to function again. Metabolic rate.
Well, that's where like the slight aspect of eating disorder, which I think is much more common, comes in, because I can scientifically explain to this, one of my clients, this woman, why she needs to eat more for her metabolism. I can say, right now your metabolism is low because you're eating almost nothing. So we need to raise that up, normalize you, and then bring you back down. That's the only way it's going to work. And I can tell them that, and it makes sense. And I can explain it any way they want. But in their mind, eating more food means I get more fat.
Right.
And I look worse and I feel worse about myself, because that's what's been in their head for, likely years. So that's the thing that's more common. And it's so hard for me to help those people to lose weight, because that aspect in their mind is so strong, really strong. It's almost like the same thing with bodybuilders a lot of the times, that yes, we get so extremely lean and eat nothing, but then they have the total opposite mindset in the off season. Like there's no balance. Either it's starve myself or eat until I'm almost sick and whatever I want, because, gains, bro, because it's
an easy way to say I want to eat everything.
And then not only is that flux in calories like yearly, I think extremely bad for your digestive system, but then the flux in weight,
which isn't good
So
for the heart, the
if you're
body
like
in general.
220 for 6 months out of the year, and then for the other 6 months of the year, you're 280. That's not good. That's not good for your body.
Yeah.
Going up and down like that, whether it's, whether you're jacked or not, it would be the same thing as if you were overweight, with fat, gaining 80 pounds every year and then losing it. That's not good. So
Yeah.
I think that is where I would, say eating disorders are more common. Those just, it's just small. It seems small if you don't think about it, but that's why I never encourage any of my clients to like stuff their face in the off season. I want them to eat as healthy as possible all the time, because it's a lifestyle. And this is, the same thing I think we're saying about why Americans can't lose weight, because they think about it as a diet, like a period of time in their life,
Right.
as opposed to a lifestyle change that will change your body permanently because you made a permanent lifestyle change.
You know what the other part of is hard too with people is I've had multiple people in the past that I'd be like, I had a girl that was 200 pounds. She was 5'7", and she told me she was eating 1,700 calories a day and training 4 days a week, and she was working hard and all this stuff, and she couldn't lose weight.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where I'm like, I'm not going to keep restricting calories. Like, it's not going to happen. We can't keep continuing to go lower, lower. You're over 200 pounds. Like 1,700 calories is nothing. So it's like, I wonder a lot of the time, when you give someone a caloric intake or a macro breakdown, how many people are actually
doing it, yeah,
or actually weighing things correctly or portion control correctly. Like,
you never really know.
Because that's it. I'm like, logically, that she should be losing weight. I'm like, we started bringing her from all the way from like 2,100, and I'm like, okay, something's not right. You're not moving at all. Just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, it's just physics, the law of thermodynamics. If they're burning, what you think are 2,000 calories and they're eating 1,500 calories, and that, they should mathematically be losing weight.
Yeah.
But they aren't. So what's going on?
Yeah.
What cookies are you not telling me about?
Oh, it's all the time.
How many almonds did you have? Did you put guacamole on that? Like things that seem healthy but are not.
Right. Or they just didn't track their alcohol all weekend they drank, and they just lied to your face.
Yeah. Oh, you sure that was 1 teaspoon of peanut butter?
Dude,
sure
that was funny.
6?
I'm helping a buddy right now, coaching. I know we're getting close on 30-minute mark, but I had a buddy that I was coaching. I'm coaching with online. I'm helping him do some like nutrition coaching and client just accountability stuff. And it's funny because like it's crazy because everyone in this, like, they're doing like this like 45-day kind of like, focus in, lock in, transformation thing. And it's like, it's so hard because that's what I'm just constantly dealing with is these people that are, struggled with losing weight in the past, weren't that active. Now they jump right in and they want to lose an amount of weight in a period of time. And it's like, hey, it's going to take me a week or two just to find your caloric intake balance. Like, where do we need to be? Like,
it's tough to explain that as a coach because you have like this balance of seeming like you're either a know-it-all or like rude because the process is so slow. It just is.
Yeah.
And that's how you're going to be successful. You need to be patient. And it's hard to tell someone to be patient nicely. Like, it's just not a nice thing to say, be patient.
Yeah, dude, it's patience.
Sound like a Jedi, talking
well, that's what I do. I'm like, yeah,
it's kind of rude. So,
but it's true.
That's tough because that's why weight loss is such a mental thing, which kind of, I think I can get time for one more question.
Yeah.
Like, how common do you think mental illness, mental problems, mental whatever is common in bodybuilding and fitness sports?
I'd say 100% of people.
100%. Huh?
I think so. I don't think everyone has mental illness.
Say 100%.
Well, I would say this. I don't think 100% of people have mental illness, but I think 100% of people will struggle at some point.
So, okay, well, I'll ask a more like specific question. So I don't actually know the numbers, but I'm just saying total guess because I have no idea. So disclaimer, like 10% of the population identifies themselves as depressed or having depression.
Right.
How much percent do you think it is if the study was only the IFBB or just NPC, let's say, people who compete.
I think the number in America is way higher than that.
I'm sure it is. Like I said,
yeah.
I have
No, I'm
idea.
just saying in general. So, but I think in bodybuilding, I truly think like I look at it a couple different ways. Long story short, mental illness and the fact that someone could actually like kill themselves. Like there's two different streams, right? So there's a side of get to that side of it. I think it's pretty low. I think the people that deal with the day-to-day struggles that, you know, that really mentally are depressed on a day-to-day basis, I think it could easily be 30%, like 30 to 40%, because it's a constant perfection sport that you're being judged by other people directly. So no matter how good you feel about yourself,
about the thing closest to you, your body, it's not even your skill or something, because most sports obviously are judged by your skill.
Right.
But your body is even something that's even closer to you than, you know, your skills.
It's not
literally like someone saying you're not good enough. Like, obviously they're not saying that, but that's how it sounds to someone who has anxiety and depression. It sounds like that to them.
You're not, because that day you weren't good enough to win. But like, at least in a sport, like a football, a baseball, like any given day, anyone can win. Like this is sport. It's like, it's different than that. You can't score more points that day.
Well, the other thing is, imagine if there was only 4 football games per year, per team.
If that.
How much would they care about those compared to how they care about however many games there are? You know, that's the thing about
they're not judged directly. It's a whole different judgment.
And it's a team. So if you lose, it's not your fault. You may have done one thing wrong.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's a team thing, and, you know, no one feels like responsible for it. But in bodybuilding, I think that's a problem. And I think the other thing is you could agree or disagree with me on this, but I think a key aspect of our sport, drastically changing how your body looks and wanting that, I think has a bit of depression, anxiety tendencies rooted right in it. Because, you know, like I can say for me personally, like there were plenty of kids that were just as skinny as me in high school. There are plenty. There's a lot of 15-year-olds that are 160 pounds. It's not uncommon. You just haven't matured. But I felt so bad about it that I like dreaded looking at myself in pictures in a mirror. Like to this day, I literally post the same before picture of myself on my page always, because that's the only picture I have of me looking like that, because I hated people taking pictures of me. I wore extra huge t-shirts so it would seem like I wasn't so skinny. Sweatpants, you know, it like really sincerely bothered me every moment of the day, all the time. So I just changed it. I did literally whatever I had to do to change it, which was a lot of, a lot of shit. So a lot of hours in the gym, a lot of food, and a lot of steroids at times. So that's not, I mean, no one would describe that as healthy, but I think that's rooted in our sport a little bit. Do you agree?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think most people in bodybuilding, majority of the time, I bet you there's more people in bodybuilding that are in it because they were that type of kid than the ones that were the athletes coming up. There's less Phil Heaths in the world out there, and there's more out there.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is too, you know, you get the body that you think you wanted when you were, you know, skinny and a teenager, and then you realize that it's like not really the issue. That the issue is
all in your head.
This,
right?
Because it's in your head. Exactly. Yeah. Because I mean, with my body, I'm totally happy where it is right now. If I went back in time and showed my 16-year-old self a picture of me, I would have been super happy. I would have been like, wow, great, awesome, cool. That's exactly what I want. I'll be totally happy then. But you realize that wasn't the problem.
Yeah.
So it's funny because it takes, you know, like 10 years of insanely hard work to realize that you're attacking the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And not to say it's bad, because I love going to the gym and it helps me out every day.
Yeah.
But
last thing I'll say, and then I'll let you go, is simple fact of when I start coaching clients now, I literally in the first consultation, I go, I can give you the best program in the world, best nutrition program in the world. But if we don't work on your mental game first and put you in the right mindset to be successful and teach the discipline and teach the habits, and this is the long-term game, where the old me was like, let's get you an awesome program. Let's get you in the gym. The new me is like, this doesn't mean shit unless your mind is locked in on the right thing.
I like that. I say something similar. I do.
And you have to. And I think people respect that. They respect that you're straightforward. Like, I'm not selling you on bullshit. We're going to create a new mindset and get you in the right spot moving forward. Yeah. So, but yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on and talking. I know we can keep going, but Jeff over there is going to die and needs food. And so. I'm straight.
Here, come on for a second. Say hi.
The big man, 270-pound beast.
52.
252.
Come on, man. Don't scare me.
How does it feel to be swole, bro? I haven't seen swole in a long time.
We're going to break this table.
You already know.
I know. Too much mass on that table over there. Chad, what do you weigh now?
I'm like 215. I got a little leaner.
There you go. I know.
Unplanned.
270's fucking big.
Yeah, he's
I'm like 250.
He's large.
Yeah. And how tall are you? Like 6'1"? 6 foot?
Yeah, I'm like 6'1".
Yeah, I'm quite
yeah, isn't that crazy? Dude, it's like putting it's like when you see the rock next to like
I'm a large human, so
it's like the rock next to Thor. That's what it is.
That's the thing that he has. He has this like he'll just be big, like bigger than everyone.
Yeah. Who just won Classic Physique last year? Bumstead?
Yeah.
Bumstead, dude. He's like a Bumstead size shape. That's what he has. Like
it's height. Close. It's literally close. Yeah. That's the thing. It's just about the lean. It's just about the shape, which there's nothing you can fucking do about. That's it. Your shape is yours.
Right. Insertion points.
The leanness. That's what we can do. And he's lost, like I said, I don't think it got recorded, but 37 pounds in 5 weeks. From high 270s. Or mid 280s or something to what we are now in the 50s.
You're still functioning over there?
Oh, yeah. Well, I still eating so much food. It was just so much food before, and then it was like a lot of food.
Now it's just a lot. So
now it's just a lot instead of tons.
I was like 205 right after Junior Nationals, so we went up from 205 to 275. So I was eating a lot, you know.
And the muscle gain has been absurd. I mean, we've been training together for a good amount most of the time now. Yeah. And I've just refined his training so much, and it's just put on. I mean, our stage weight is going to be like 20 pounds heavier than it was the last time. And I'm lowballing it, wicked lowballing it.
Well, you're still in like prime time mass stage.
I just can't wait to see his potential realized.
Which show is it?
We're doing New England, so it's going to be in Boston on November 7th.
Better be there.
Yeah.
I know, right? I won't be that far away. Framingham's not bad.
Yeah, come through.
I'll definitely.
All right, man.
All right, I'll let you guys going.
Gotta go.
I'll talk to you later. Till next time.
Right.
Later, go. Flex. I'd flex, but there's nothing to flex here anymore. You might have like 40 pounds on me, so it's all good. All right.
I bet. All right.
I'll see you later, guys. Take it easy.